Well, let's just jump right in. What they have asked me to talk to you about today is a workshop I do called Instant and Free. And we are just going to barely touch the edge of this big iceberg. She said, I've been in children's ministry for 33 years. Well, that bio was written a couple of years ago, so it's about 37 now. But one of the things that I've learned over this time is that new resources, a better ministry does not have to cost you big bucks. And it doesn't have to take a long time. There are a lot of things that you can do to be a better teacher instantly and free. Oh, we like that word, don't we? Free, yes. Wouldn't it be nice, though, to just say a magic word like alakazam or rub a genie bottle, and all of a sudden you'd have all of these little angels in your class? But there are some things that you can do to increase the odds of you having a well organized classroom and kids that will engage. So some of you are thinking right now, Tina, just stop talking and tell us what you got, okay? You want it now, instantly. All right, well, I've got 4 or 5 that we'll start with tonight. Number 1, instant and free. Always have a sample made up. If you're doing a craft, always have a sample made up. Now, I'm going to have, there's going to be a picture come up in just a moment, but before we do that, I just want you to listen to these instructions for a craft that your kids might do. It's a card, a Christmas card. Use a fork to dip in the paint to make the straw for the manger. Cut out a piece of brown construction paper and put it into the wet paint for the manger. Wrap a strip of material around a wooden ice cream spoon. Use a marker to put on a sleeping baby face and glue the baby in the manger. Now, did you really know how it was going to look by those instructions? But if we have a sample made up, it's going to be so much easier for the kids to envision where they're going. Now, some people might say, oh, but you're stifling their creativity. No, what you are doing is you are cutting down their frustration level. You are keeping them engaged. You're keeping them from being distracted and becoming discipline problems. Creativity comes in all forms. And if you are using multiple intelligences across your lesson plan, then there's plenty of opportunity for those kids to express their creativity. So please, no matter what, I know a lot of times you get in a hurry or getting your lesson all together and all the supplies and everything, and you think, oh, I'll just tell them. I'll just tell them what that's supposed to look like. No, take the time to make a sample for their sake. And also, it helps you go through and make sure you have all the supplies. That's the other big benefit to making a sample. So, instantly, if you will just always think, I've got to make sure I have a sample, instantly, you are going to be a better teacher. See, that wasn't hard, was it? Now, secondly, our second tip, instant and free, is always, always, always debrief. Can you say always with me? Everybody, right where you are, just say it loud. 1, 2, 3. Always. You didn't do it, did you? Are you sitting in a room by yourself and like embarrassed to say that? Come on, one more time. And I just want you to say it in a determined way. Always. 1, 2, 3. Always. Always debrief. Write it down. Having been in children's ministry for 37 years, it's very tempting to go, oh, I know how to do that. I can breeze right through that. But 37 years tells me that I am constantly learning something. Things are changing. And if it's going to be a year before I do something again, believe me, by that time, I'm going to need my notes. Write down your debriefing notes. Take this last week. I was with a group of preschoolers. And we had blacked out the room, covered all of the windows with landscaping plastic. And I wrote in my debriefing notes, landscape plastic worked great, stored it for, then named the room in a box. It's in the resource center. So we don't have to recut it. We don't have to guess that it's going to work. It's going to work. Another note I made this last week was check on the king queen robe that we have. The neck is way too big. We need a seamstress, and it's falling off the shoulders. So before I get ready to use that again, hopefully somebody has addressed the fact that the neckline on our robe is about 3 feet long, okay? And it just goes right over the kids. I was, a couple of years ago, I was with a group of kids on Maundy Thursday evening. I was going to care for them while their parents were part of a foot washing service. And this is something our congregation does every year. So we have communion and foot washing on Thursday and right before Easter. I had all these kids, and I thought, I don't want just to have them playing here. I want to engage them. And so I put together these activities and all this stuff, and we were going to finish by washing each other's feet. Well, my helper and I demonstrated it, and then I paired the kids up and had them go to their little tubs that I had filled about an hour and a half before. They were so attentive. When the first kid, though, put his foot in the water, after an hour and a half of sitting there, it was ice cold. And he goes, "Whoa!" That was the end. There was no getting those kids back. All of that up to that point was wonderful, but I lost them there. And I made a point of writing my debriefing notes, get water at the last minute, nice and warm. And so the next year I got it out. I have 8-year-old grand twins, a boy and a girl, and they were part of this group. And Kendall had washed Bowen's feet. Parents started arriving. And I looked over at Bowen and I said, "What's the matter, bud?" Because his eyes were all full, like he was about ready to cry. And he said, "I didn't get to wash Sissy's feet." And I said, "Well, we may be cleaning up, but we'll set it back up for you." And I have the most precious picture of him washing his sister's feet. That would not have happened. The second year we did it and we used the warm water and all of that happened was because I had debriefing notes. And it's not just for teaching. Your events, always write down. Did you prepare 20 gallons too much lemonade? Write it down or you'll do the same thing next year. And then keep all of those debriefing notes in the same place where other people on the team have access to them. It can be in a shared folder in Dropbox. It can be, a printed copy that you keep in a notebook. But make sure that you have those. It's free. It's instant. Okay, you've got all of that beneficial information if you will just debrief. All right, let's move on to our third one. Tell stories about what your kids are doing. That sounds so simple. It's something free you can do that will have just about as much impact in your ministry as anything you could do. Tell stories about what the kids are doing. Now, one reason is a lot of times the children's ministry area is maybe in a different building, it's all in the basement, but it's not in a place where people are passing by and seeing, what's hanging in the hallways or what's going on in the classrooms. They don't see that, so they don't know what's going on. Your responsibility is to make sure that is communicated. Now, these are just positive stories I'm talking about, something special, and it doesn't even have to be super special, just something special that happened that week. I call these my Monday stories. I call them that because I share them on Monday. And I get on the I Love Kid Men Facebook page and on my Facebook page and the Kid Men Academy Facebook page, and I post something about what struck me about the kids the day before when I was with them at church. This last week, I posted a picture of a group of preschoolers with these crazy glasses on. We're doing a unit on people who have used disguises in the Bible. And so they have these crazy glasses. And it's the most wonderful picture. Of course, I had permission from parents to do that, but it just communicates that, oh my goodness, look how much fun those kids are having. Now, I didn't go into why they had the glasses on. They were taking them on and off in response to some situational things that I was throwing their way. You tell these stories any chance you get, okay? When you're out shopping for groceries and you run into somebody from church and you're talking to them and you go, oh, I just gotta tell you something. I had the sweetest thing happen Sunday. And you share that. You're at your life group and people, you're getting ready to pray or beginning, whatever, and somebody says, who's got praises this week? And you go, I do. Let me tell you what's happening with the kids in our children's ministry. Oh man, that is good stuff. So what happens? What actually happens when you share these positive stories? First of all, it changes you. It changes you. Your attitude becomes more positive. If every week you look at what's happened and you go, what blessed my heart today? Let me tell somebody about that. Then the next week, when you're preparing, you're a little more excited because you're anticipating another Monday story. And it feeds your soul, it feeds your attitude. Another benefit of telling these stories is that parents want to talk with you because they're hoping you're going to say something about their child. It communicates that something is happening in your classroom. Otherwise, nobody knows. Okay. These positive stories, um, if you're always sharing negative stories, which is what we tend to do, you come out of being with a bunch of kids and you're like, oh, that's over. Oh my goodness, let me get someplace and take a big breath. Or, oh my, wow, what a mess this morning. Or, boy, they have had way too much Halloween candy. If you're always communicating those kind of things, that's not laying good ground for your children's ministry. Sharing positive stories is contagious. You start doing it, and the other leaders of the other classrooms are going to catch it. They're going to start sharing a story here and there, also the wonderful things that are happening with their kids. Another benefit is that parents and adults in the church, when they hear all these positive things, it increases the likelihood of them saying yes when you say, we'd love to have you be part of the children's ministry team. Oh, we love those yeses, don't we? How can they turn it down when they've heard so many wonderful stories? People need to hear the cute things that kids say, the way they process things. They need to hear that. So let me just tell you two of my Monday stories. About a year ago, we introduced the song Good, Good Father by Chris Tomlin as one of the worship songs for our kids. And the very first time one of the little boys, he was in first grade, heard this song, he just shut his eyes and he became very still. This isn't a kid that's normally still, okay? And he just put his whole body just relaxed. His arms were down at his side, and he kept his eyes closed the whole time. Every single time we sang that song, he closed his eyes and relaxed. There was something that connected about that. I loved sharing that with the other leaders, with his mom and his dad, and with other people. He was part of our family service, and the kids were leading worship. And that was one of the songs. And I thought, I wonder if he'll do it. As soon as it came on, right there in front of everybody, eyes closed, hands down to the side. And I heard several people go, I thought that one little boy was asleep, but he was saying the words. He was worshiping. And it's moved on to now where he just holds his arms out as soon as he hears that song, and it's opened up the way he praises through music. Another story, a Monday story that I had, was a little boy. His name's Adam. He grew up in the church. He's now in third grade, I believe, and very severely autistic. Was nonverbal until about a year and a half ago, maybe as much as 2 years ago. He would be a little bit verbal at home, but not in public. I never heard him say anything. He's in the group that I'm teaching, and he liked at that time to sit in a huggle pod. If you don't know what that is, it's a canvas chair that hangs from the ceiling, and it kind of envelops them. If you know anything about autistic kids, wrapping them, like cocooning them, helps them concentrate and relaxes them. I put a slide up, and we were going through some slides, and the kids were identifying what was on those slides. And I knew what the next one was, and I said, okay, kids, nobody say anything on this next one. Okay, is that agreed? Right. I put it up, and it was an alligator. And I said, Adam, and he looked at me. I said, Adam, what's on the screen up here? Tell me what that is. Nothing. Adam, tell me what you see on the wall. And I heard, I said, Adam, tell me, what do you see in the picture? And he blurted out, alligator, as plain as can be. The kids were blown away. They had grown up with him, and they just burst into applause and go, way to go, Adam, that was awesome. And I could not wait to share that with his mom and dad. Do you know how often that parents of autistic kids hear good reports? They must be so weary. And I was so excited just to say, oh my goodness, Adam said alligator. I will never hear alligator the same way again. So telling stories, it's free. It's instant if you just get it in your head that you need to share those stories. The fourth one we're going to go through is introduce kids to something brand new, something that will cause them to wonder, to be fascinated. My 18th book just came out about 2 months ago, and it's called Fascinating Preschoolers. And it's all about things that we can introduce to them at this age, because they're 3, 4, and 5-year-olds take in more information in that 3-year period than any other time in their lives. And so we've got to pour scripture into them. We've got to pour the word of God into them. So one day we're teaching on God will not leave me. I taught it with older kids, but I thought, let's try it with the younger ones. I got a bucket. I filled it halfway with water. And my helper, and you're going to see this come up on the screen here, the 2 pictures of her holding the bucket. She holds the bucket down to her side at first. And what she's going to do is to bring that forward, around, behind her, and back down, and make a circle, kind of like a Ferris wheel, next to her, swinging this bucket full of water. And we did that, and every time she'd go around, the kids were supposed to shout, God will not leave me. God will not leave me, because the water does not come out of the bucket. It doesn't. So as soon as we're done, I'm thinking, we did it outside, nice sunny day, warm, and we were ready to go back in. And one of the kids said, I want to try it. And I thought, oh no, I don't know about this. But I thought, you know what? It's warm out here. It's sunny. It's just water. Let's give it a try. So He put that bucket down. I gave him instructions, and around it went, around it went. And all the kids were shouting, God will not leave me. God will not leave me. God will not leave me. Every single kid wanted to try it. I knew by doing this that I was going to have to cut something else out of my lesson, but they were so in tune with it. And not one of those kids spilled a drop of water because they listened to the instructions. They were fascinated. They'd never seen anything like this before. And they went home. I know because parents told me. They went home and said, let me show you what I can do with a bucket of water. I had a few parents that were like, no, not in the house, kind of thing. But then they got to fascinate their parents that way. So let me stop there. That's only four. There's so many more instant and free ways that we can be better teachers if we just think about those things.